Land degradation is a huge issue across the continent of Africa. One of its biggest drivers is biological invasions. This is when invasive species that aren't naturally found in the area arrive and produce large numbers of offspring which spread over long distances. Mungeli Nsikina, a land restoration specialist and environment scientist, explained how ecological restoration is a great way to reverse land degradation. What was driving land degradation on the continent? Africa is one of the most degraded continents in the world. About 23% of surface of Africa, or over 700 million hectares of land, that's a lot, is already degraded. Another 3 million hectares is being further degraded annually. Degraded land is land that has lost some of its natural productivity through processes caused by humans. It's estimated that up to 40% of the planet's land is degraded. So you see, this is what is causing it. So let's go to what is the ecological restoration. Ecological restoration is the process of assisting the recovery of an ecosystem that has been degraded, damaged, or destroyed, removing invasive plants and reintroducing indigenous species in one way to reverse damage. Ecological restoration is about helping to create conditions in which plants, animals, microorganisms can carry out the work of recovery themselves. Assisting recovery can be as complex as altering landforms, intentionally changing aspects of the landscapes, planting vegetation, changing the hydrological water flow, and reintroducing wildlife. It can also be as simple as removing an invasive species or introducing a lost plant species to the land. How can people help? Anyone can contribute to the restoration of ecosystem. The first thing is to advocate for and actively engage in the conversation of intact ecosystems. As the old adage goes, prevention is better than cure. Ecological restoration is a great tool to tackle land degradation, but it is not a quick fix. It is still necessary to protect and conserve natural ecosystems. You see, the person that has written this article, you have done a whole lot by writing it. But you see, no matter the English, the politicians, or the African leaders, let them speak. As long as they don't eradicate poverty out of Africa, as long as and they cannot implement good policies, as long as these African countries, the states, the communities, the villages don't have these four cardinal functioning elements of government, which is good road connections, security, steady electricity, good government policies, you can blow grammar as long as you want, because in most countries, people are barely fighting to survive. The last thing the people need now is for you to come and start preaching them ecosystem this, ecosystem that. Yes, because the more daybreaks in which we know that most politicians in Africa, they are using poverty as a tool, because as long as the people are poor, the people cannot think properly, the people cannot articulate properly, the people in some aspects will be naive. They can easily manipulate the people to remain in power to keep getting what they want. Yes, so before this is achievable, the African leaders must first and foremost implement policies that makes life easy. Digitalize Africa, do things that an average Africa can live, at least not to live a luxurious life, but at least give them some comfortability to some extent. It is only till then that if you're coming to preach ecosystem or have to preserve these lands or preserve some of these species or transform these species or plant these species, that the people will start listening to you. Because somebody that has not, you met in the evening, that has not eaten morning and has not had breakfast and lunch, you cannot come in the evening and start preaching them ecosystem. Somebody that went to bed last night with empty stomach and the day breaks, they have not even had breakfast. You can't come in the afternoon and start preaching ecosystem to them, because you will just be wasting your time. So African leaders, it is high time you people start changing this mentality, because a prosperous Africa means that Africans will prosper. And when Africans prosper, flourish, then this ecosystem preservation is doable. The climate change, the leaders of the world and African leaders are preaching, it is only then the people in Africa will help in listening and taking measures to make sure that this climate change fight brings the required result, or that is fruitful. But until then, the African leaders will just be speaking English, which they are good at.